Well, folks, as always, I have my two trusty colleagues here. How's it going there, Vern? Good to see you can make it. And, well, Sparky, how you doing? Oh, it's the hair of the dog. So, Sparky, it looks like you're impatient. You couldn't wait. You know, we have to wait. I don't know. You gonna be okay for the review? So we're going to locate Glenmorangie distillery here, and it is on the coast. It's actually in a bay there, Doric Firth, just on Highway A9, and there it is, located right on the beach there, distillery Glenmorangie. So welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey, and what do we got here tonight? It's a Glenmorangie, and it is a Quinta Ruben. And there's been lots of reviews on this, and very mixed. And I've actually had several bottles of this, so this is the older bottle. I also have the newer bottle that I was going to give to somebody, and I had a sip with them. They now have the bottle, by the way, and I had a sip with them, and we compared the two. I was quite surprised. It was a bit different. So, cask, maybe that's a conversation we can have at a later time, but what I'm going to say on the short side of it is, you pull a whiskey from a cask, and there is a slight chance that particular cask might be a little off. Maybe it's lacking intensity because it's tired, but this was a good whiskey, and the one I sampled from the bottle I bought from my friend there, I felt that the cask was tired, and I was getting I was getting a tired cask. I was getting some astringency from the cask. I wasn't getting the deep notes that I have traditionally got from Glenmorangie, and of course from this particular whiskey. So we're going to do a review on this anyways, and if I get my friend to bring the other whiskey back over here, we'll review his too, but that he's in another town, and we'll plan on that on a different date. So Glenmorangie, 46%, 14 years old. I believe this is port casks. If I remember rightly, it is. Port cask finish, 14 years. A lot of your port casks seem to be 14 years. I have a Springbank 14 port cask. I have a, believe there was a Delmore, it's a Delmore 12 or 14, but I do know that the Tomatin is also 14. And I have one other 14. It befuddles me why I can't remember it. But anyways, let's get into the Glenmorangie, the Quinta Ruben 14. And of course, we'll give it the nose. And typical of the Glenmorangie drinks, I've been drinking Glenmorangie almost as long as Macallan's, many, many years. They were my, I think Glenfiddich was my first introduction into single malts many, many years ago. And then I think Macallan's and Morangie, it's pretty much either one of them about the same time. And then after that, Glenlivet. Ah, boy. So, I'm not going to say port wine. It just got wine sweetness. To identify port, that's another thing. The dark dried fruit. And I'm getting some vanilla. That'd be from the wood probably. A bit of citrus. Marzipan maybe. Oh yeah, some kind of candies here, nutty candies. Maybe almond pecans, or maybe more walnut fudge, pecan fudge, walnut pecan fudge. A little bit of baking spices, but we are getting a little bit of the oak. You definitely get some oak in this, and the other drink, there was a lot of oak, but it was lacking what I'm getting right now. It was lacking that. It's not unusual to have these notes from a Glenmorangie, and this is a port cask, and you know I've got numerous Glenmorangies. I think I've got Nectar. I think that's Sauterne cask. I have the 18-year-old, it's sherry cask finished, remember rightly, bourbon sherry. But, you know, through the years I've had lots of Glenmorangie, and I would say most of them are similar in their nose. They're rich, fruity, sweet. Usually you will get vanilla if they're aged, and always seem to get a little bit of malt and baking spice too. You know, I'm getting more baking spice on this one here, but anyways, let's give it the palate. Sláinte. So again, the dark fruit, and I think the richness is probably the port wine, because it's very rich, almost molasses rich. There is a bit of cocoa in the background. In fact, the cocoa is coming on stronger now, and getting some nutty notes. You know, I got that in my nose there. Remember I was mentioning the walnut, almond fudge there, sweet. And way back there I'm getting a bit of tobacco, maybe even a slight bit of sulfur, I don't know. But it's a pretty earthy drink. But the palate's kind of disappeared there. I'm going to have to do this again. I mean, it tells me it's probably going to be a medium finish, but there's the tobacco, yeah. I sort of get a wee bit of the tobacco in there. The spice too. baking spices. It's got a richness to it with the sweetness, but also with the spices. So it's a real. It sort of tangles itself between layers of the dark fruits and even a little bit of leather thrown in there. Still a bit of molasses. You know, you've got the spices. To the finish. Leather, oak. I mean, the sweetness is still there, but I'm giving you something different here. It's definitely the oak is coming in, the leather. But I'm not getting the bitterness I got off the other bottle. The other bottle had a lot of bitterness. Maybe it was something I ate that night, but we both noticed it. But we both had dinner together, so you know, it really hit me as it's not the same drink. And then that's when I poured this one out. I poured a drink of this, and he agreed that it's a different drink. But I mean, they were similar, but it just didn't have the richness, and it had that bite, that astringent bite. But this is definitely, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's, you know, you know, you get a bad cask, you get a bad bottle, and move on. Some people just walk away from the drink and say it's a bad drink, and they'll never drink it again. Not me. No, I really believe there's bad casks, and you just got one of them, and you just got one off cask. And it could be for many reasons. So, but this is a good drink. This bottle here is a decent Glenmorangie. So shorter finish than I've had in other Glenmorangies, but still a medium finish. It's not short, it's just shorter than most of the ones, because most of them are at 46. And I forget, I think the 18's 43 maybe, but most of the ones I have are 46. It's a very well balanced drink. It's got a full mouthfeel to it, or I mean, full mouth. I'd say more of a medium full mouthfeel to it, and it's velvety. It's kind of soft. It doesn't smack you in the face. I like this stuff. It's I kind of find it's sort of comes on a bit strong at first, but it finishes off fairly gentle. So what do I give the Quinta Ruben? I'm probably going to give it an 84. I go back to this, as you can see, quite often. I have a little nip of it. I like it. It's not the best Glenmorangie I've had, but I've had lots of them. I've got some from go way back that were incredibly memorable. It's not certainly at the bottom of the heap. It's a good 14-year-old drink. So I think at 84, this is well worth paying attention to. If you, I'm not sure what I paid. It's under $100. I'll put it on the review. So I think that's a factor there if you want to get into a 14-year-old and I think a decent distillery that has fairly decent reviews. This one has mixed reviews. I will say that about it. So you can read other people's reviews and sort of, you know, take it from there. But I'm going to say for myself personally, 84. I think that's a realistic mark. I like this stuff. I would you know, I work away at it slowly. It's not a hard drink to approach, so give it an 84. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So until the next time, I'm going to ask you to drink wisely and intelligently. Do not drink and drive. And